How's it going, everyone? My name is Jovani and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about engine mounts and transmission cross members, specifically for our C20 pickup that we're doing a 5.3 swap in. So as you guys may have seen in the last video, I got the engine partially installed using a generic kind of eBay Amazon style engine mount like this. Well, this did work out. I got the engine mounted, everything lined up somewhat, but I wanted to go ahead and just try out a couple other engine mounts and transmission cross members for you guys, so that way you guys can make the decision to buy the one that's going to work best for you. Hey guys, so before this video starts, this is me from the future. We just hit 13,000 subscribers, so I want to just from the bottom of my heart thank each and every one of you that has subscribed to the channel. We've really grown a lot over the last couple years. Really quickly, I just wanted to say a large portion of the people that watch my videos aren't actually subscribed. So if you are one of those people that watch the videos and aren't subscribed, I invite you to just hit that subscribe button. It doesn't cost you anything and you can always unsubscribe later if you don't find the content valuable. So hit that subscribe button. Thanks guys. And now back to the video. Alright, so if we come over here to the cart, I have just a couple examples for you guys. I just got these guys in and this guy in, and I believe these are the ones I'm going to be using for the C20. This is the one that we had mounted on there originally. These ones do work great. They're about anywhere from $20 to $40 for the set of them. They come with all the hardware required, but you do need to purchase or have some small block Chevy engine mounts to make them work. This is just an example one that I had extra. You can basically mount them in 2 or 3 different locations, and that'll move them about an inch back or forward. Now, as compared to these guys, which I purchased, which are actually built for a Squarebody, well, a C10. So these ones were built for a C10. They already have the part that actually mounts to the engine mount already, built into them. And basically you sandwich the engine mount plate between these and shove a bolt through them. And then you just tighten the bolt, and that's what keeps your engine in place. You have one on each side. These ones are kind of nice though, because they have these slots here, and that allows you to slide the mount forward and backward, as compared to this one where you have to physically unbolt the mount and move it. So I'm hoping that these are going to work for us. They look like they should, and they look decently well made out of steel. And I'm going to be leaving links for you guys in the description of all these parts, just in case you want to check them out for yourself. And then this guy right here, this is going to be our transmission cross member, or at least I hope it will be once we get it mounted up in there and make sure it works. But again, this one was specifically designed for C10 chassis trucks. These big kind of notches here were made for an exhaust to go under them, so hopefully this ends up working for us. Looks decently made and very cheap. I paid about $80 for this guy, and I think $50 for the engine mounts. I was going to use some of the Tejas mounts that are very common amongst the C10 swap guys, but I decided there's already people that have used those and they seem to work great. And so for the extra coin, that's pretty much a guaranteed bet. But I'm Jovani, and I like to buy things that may or may not work and try them out for you guys, so that way you'll know if they work or not. So anyways, for the rest of this, we're just going to be mounting up these engine plates. We might get to the transmission cross member today, but if not, we'll get to that soon. And just kind of see the general feel of these, see if they work well, see if we run into any issues, see if they work at all. So let's get to it. Alright, so since the last video I made, engine might be sitting in kind of a different spot. I was able to get it further pushed back, almost all the way flush against the firewall, but I just can't get the mounts to sit in that spot. So that's what kind of led me to want to try one of these other kind of mounts. But basically my goal is to get the engine pushed as tightly up against the firewall as we can, so that way the transmission is as far back as we can. Because if you remember, we're using a 4L60, which is physically shorter than a 4L80 or TH400 that would have came in this truck. And getting those transmission tail shafts to line up as close as we could will maybe prevent us from having to buy a whole new drive shaft. So that's kind of my reasoning. We might end up having to buy a new drive shaft anyway. So right now I'm just gonna jack up the engine again, get the old mounts off, put the new ones on, and we'll kind of see how things fit. engine mount plates are on. I have them slid all the way forward, which would mean that the engine is going to go all the way back as far as it can. The reason I did that is because I figured let's just try it there, because if it doesn't work, we're gonna have to pull the engine back up to loosen these bolts, because I don't think we're gonna be able to reach them when it's, you know, close to that motor mount plate. Other than that, the other reason is I think as of right now, our AC compressor technically fits. At least the mount for it does. So that's pretty cool. So I'm hoping that the engine will just slide in, we'll get those mounts on, and that'll be the end of it. Later on, we'll try to just temporarily mount up that cross member and see if that works. Alright, so I think I'm an idiot. Maybe, I don't know yet. I think I mounted the plates upside down because it seems like if these were flipped the opposite way, that these holes might line up a lot better. I almost got the bolt all the way through, but then I kind of thought, let's just flip them while we're here, just check it out. I don't think I'm going to get as much clearance going the other way as I am this way, and I think the engine's actually going to push itself a lot more forward too, so that's definitely a downside, but I don't know, we'll try it out, let's see what happens. All right, so kind of convoluted, but I flipped them from left to right, and then I flipped them upside down, so that made this kind of bracket point up instead of pointing down. I don't know, real convoluted, but hopefully this works. Alright guys, so this thing had been giving me quite a little bit of trouble, these motor mounts, but that's because I had them upside down. So as you can see here, I have, this is the driver's side. This one is properly mounted now. Now the mounts may technically be backwards. I think the longer part of the mount actually faces towards the front, but I was able to get it this way, and that basically seats the engine pretty far back. And you can get a better view of it here. This is the passenger side. The engine mount bolts are already in there, they're just not tightened up. What this may allow us to do is it may allow us to actually use our AC compressor mount and keep all that stuff, because pretty much we have nothing intruding on this side. So yeah, I got the engine mounts finally in. It just took me a little while to fiddle with it. And so now what's left is getting this transmission cross member up in there. And this one shouldn't be too big of a deal. Basically wherever the transmission sits is where the cross member is gonna go. You know, if these holes don't line up right here, we just drill some new holes, and that should work for us. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and start working on that, get that guy mounted up in there, at least loosely mounted up. That way we can drill our holes, put some bolts. I gotta find some bolts, and then I also have to get a nut for the transmission mount itself, and that should be about it for our engine mount situation. This thing will be in here finally, mounted up. Then we could start working on our wiring harness and our fuel system. All right, so I just spent a couple minutes kind of examining this mount and the transmission. And the first thing I noticed is that there's two holes here, whereas my 4L60 only has the one stud mount. So I'm thinking of just drilling a hole right in between these two holes, and that should work for that. I'm also trying to figure out kind of like the best orientation for this mount. I'm pretty sure it sits in the truck like this, and these actually bolt underneath the frame rails. I'm gonna just go ahead and drill this hole first, kind of get it up there with the jack and see how everything fits, and then see if I need to drill new holes, or if, you know, there's some existing holes that'll line up. All right guys, so we are underneath the truck again. I got the mount kind of just sitting where it's supposed to be. As you can see, one of the bolt holes will line up with the mount, the other one will not, so I'll have to drill one bolt hole on this side and one on the other side to make it work. Also, the kind of stopping point right now is that, and I saw this one coming, so this is a generic mount for square body trucks, basically like 70 some through 87. All of those trucks didn't come with the 4L60E, which has, as I stated just a little bit ago, this stud mount. I did actually end up drilling my hole already for it. It turns out it's not really gonna work. I have the transmission actually touching the top of the floor right now, all the way jacked up, and I can still not get this mount in there. So that's fine, because They make mounts 4L60 to TH350 mount style, and they're actually slimmer, and they allow you to bolt through the mount instead of having the stud come out of the mount. So I think that's what we're gonna do. Other than that, let's see, our drive shaft is gonna be an issue. Obviously, this drive shaft is made for a TH400. That's why it's got this kind of bolt-on flange, whereas a 4L60 is a slip yoke style. So I think what I'll do is I'll have this half of the drive shaft shortened and adapted to fit a slip yoke. My carrier bearing looks like it needs to be rebuilt. It looks like it got kind of torn up somehow. So we'll go ahead and get that carrier bearing rebuilt as well. And then that should solve our drive shaft issues. Then after that, all we have left is the fuel system, which is going to be pretty cool. I have a pretty cool thing I'm going to try for you guys. Hopefully that's going to make things a lot easier for you guys if you guys are going to be doing this. And then we have our wiring harness, which I believe I'm going to be sending out to get done just for the sake of time. I might be working on a deal for you guys, so that way, yeah, I'm trying to find someone good, so that way, you know, they can possibly get you guys a discount if you're going to send your harness in. And yeah, that'll be pretty cool. So this has been a pretty long video, so I think I'm going to end it here. We got our engine bolted in. I can drop the jack down and it'll just rest on this mount for now. Yeah, so everything's kind of situated where it's going to be, and you know, next move on to the other stuff. So as always, guys, I want to thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it so much. You guys allow me to do the things that I want to do. I'm glad that I'm able to share these experiences with you guys and help you out along the way. If you guys enjoy this video, drop me a like. If you're not already, please subscribe to the channel. It helps me out a ton. It keeps me going. If you guys have questions, follow me on Instagram, Facebook, send them my way. Once again, thank you guys, and I'll see you guys in the next one.